Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Branding Tips Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about personal branding. So, there's been a lot of discussion lately around personal branding, why it's important, and why you should get started, and how it can significantly help your business and your personal network and your career growth. So today, we're going to talk specifically about what you should talk about when you're growing or establishing your personal brand. So many people ask, what should I talk about? What do people want to know about me? What do people care? Why do they care? That's a huge hurdle in overcoming creating a strong personal brand is figuring out what you should talk about on a weekly basis and what's interesting to people. And it's really not that difficult. So I've broken a personal branding content down into three things. The first one, and probably the easiest one to dip your toes into the water of branding, of personal branding, is hobbies. Talk about a recent book you read, a movie you like, a show you like, and then talk about why. That easy. Can be a couple sentences. Talk about what you do in your downtime when you're not working. This creates a really great connection with your audience because they get to see a side of you that they may have never seen before. Everyone does things outside of their office time and their 40 hours a week, whether it's sports, whether it's involvement in the community, the church, art, photography, you name it. It builds rapport. It's a friendly way to get to know people. People are sure to comment on it and remember you when they're talking about their own personal brand. Number two is shoutouts. This is one of my personal favorites. So once a week, once a month, whenever you fancy, post on your social media of choice, shout out to someone. Easy as that. Someone who's been helping you lately, someone who's an inspiration, someone who you really admire, someone who's been instrumental in your career growth, or even just a friend or someone who has your back. You can mention them. And the cool thing about that is that all of their connections will be notified when you mention them, and they're very likely to comment and say, hey, thanks for the shout out. You're awesome. What that does is it really helps multiply the growth of your network. Number three is learnings. So this can be broken down into a couple different buckets. One would be challenges. So you can see here, we're getting a little bit more intimate. Um, this has a lot more. It can be a bit heavier than just talking about your hobbies. So you can start with number one and then work your way down as you get more comfortable with talking about your personal brand and yourself in an external environment. So, learnings. Number one is challenges. Talk about recent hardships you've faced in the workplace, something you've overcome. The key here is that you don't just want it to be complaining. You want there to be a constructive outlook. So you want, if you're talking about something that was difficult, you want there to be a flip side to it of how you overcame it. So it's not just a negative blast. The other thing you can talk about is growth opportunities, um, recent things you've learned. You can talk about classes you've taken, um, career books you've read, and how they apply to certain situations in your life. Really, the list is endless of things you've done. It can be so small as a quote you read and how that quote has affected you. And when in doubt, just use a card game. So this game here, it's called Actually Curious. And there's a full deck of cards of prompts that you can talk about in your personal branding. There's also a really great game called Table Topics, which is a little lighter than Actually Curious. And pull a card and answer the question. What's nice about them is that they're all family friendly, so you're not really doing a Cards Against Humanity style personal brand. So that's all for today. Hope this was helpful. Take it easy.